Tim Hughes is making his return to That's a Gay Ass Podcast. We found out you were on this podcast how long ago, Timothy Hughes?
Basically a year.
Happy anniversary.
We're calling it our year anniversary.
It is our anniversary, and there's going to be a lot
Yeah.
of tension throughout this reunion because we've got a lot to catch up on. You're also wearing a low plunging button down, and no, don't cover it up.
Okay.
You just revealed that you're drinking a 5 p.m. coffee. Tim Hughes, how do you manage to do
Yeah.
that?
I think that's like the Broadway schedule routine that's built into me. That's like, oh, a between show, or like you finish your afternoon, you get a workout in, and then you're like, and then I'm gonna go do my real job at night at full energy. Cut to afternoon coffee.
Cut to afternoon 5 p.m. coffee. Yeah, I just don't drink coffee because I've got a Jewish tummy. I would look around the New York City subway, see people sipping their coffee, and think, how do you do that without a toilet being within 10 feet?
Yeah, I don't have that problem, and I'm a good sleeper. So, but that combination allows for a 5 p.m. coffee.
Why do you think you sleep so well? How is it that you can lay down at night and not spiral about everything that's happened during the day?
I mean, I think first one is like the actual like science of being a large human being, that I have like a slower resting heart rate to begin with.
Oh,
Oh,
oh.
and maybe that's also from being like a large human being, that I've also like, but I'm in decent shape, like an athletic heart, so that it slows down easily. Like it takes a lot longer. It's much harder to get like my heart rate up. So
I
that's why like I
see.
never go to those like Orange Theory things. So I'm like, I'm working out really hard, but these kids are like destroying me with their heart rate monitor over here, running at
Well,
like a 6, and I'm at like at an 11 on the treadmill trying to beat them. Not always. I mean, my fiance loves a Barry's boot camp, and sometimes I'd get very competitive and get into double digits on the treadmill.
what?
But I
Jesus
digress.
H. Okay,
Yes.
we get it. You're in shape. I also feel like you're kind of cluing us into that tall people are always what? Close to death, which is why they can what? Sleep very well. You're also reminding me that we're already a couple minutes in, and I'm getting us into this episode without an intro. So why don't I just tell the listeners, if they don't know who you are, and they should, Tim Hughes did this podcast a year ago just to talk about his Broadway herstory. You've done a million Broadway shows, also a lot of amazing gay iconic films and TV shows. You were part of And Just Like That. Most recently, you are in the premiere episode of The Comeback Season 3, where Valerie Cherish is in the Broadway revival of Chicago, and she is having a tough time in her put-in rehearsal. We're going to talk about filming The Comeback. We're going to talk about booking The Comeback. But before we do so, I don't know, you're such a great person to talk to because you are engaged to a gorgeous gay Jew. As a Jewess, I love
I
to get
am.
into that. You have great takes about Broadway. In fact, the last time you did this podcast, there was a clip of yours that did very well talking about leaving shows at intermission. And I have a lot of listener questions for you that we're going to be talking about over on Substack for the extended version of this after we finish at the main pod. So let's do before the comeback
Great.
stuff. Tim Hughes, you just finished a run with a little known actress named Michelle Williams, which was Anna Christie at St. Anne's Warehouse. However, you're also just living in New York during a time when there are so many shows opening. Do you have any sort of Broadway shows that you have either seen recently that you've been really gagged over, upcoming shows that you cannot wait to see? Where do you stand as a Broadway fan right now?
It's a very exciting season. Really interesting, like full spectrum for musicals. I haven't seen any new musicals yet of this season. I have to see Two Strangers. That like everybody is still raving about it.
Yes.
Christiani is just like also so amazing, and such a beautiful human being and performer. Like I'm sure I'm going to be obsessed with her performance. Really want to support that. The director from Anna Christie, Tommy Kail, is in previews with Proof, which I saw the other night and
Is
loved.
that
I
with
mean, that play
Io?
is, yeah, and Don Cheadle. the play is so well written, and like we just don't see that very often. We don't see like such a perfect, almost nearly perfect script that often. So that was thrilling to see. I love the production. It's like highly recommended, I would say. What I need to see, I have tickets to see Rocky Horror
So
next month,
jealous. So
which I'm excited,
jealous.
really excited about.
For
I
anybody
went
who doesn't
to
know, Sam Pinkleton directs Rocky Horror, who is the Oh Mary director, who has done That's a Gay Ass Mother Tucking podcast. It's with so many crazy names, including the girl I went to college with, who was in the other room when I lost my virginity, Stephanie Shu. Really want to make sure to get that in there. And of course, crazy cast. What about Cats the Jellicle Ball? Have you seen yet?
I saw it off Broadway and I absolutely loved it. I
Love. I
was
just
like,
saw it in New York. I just saw it a couple when I was there a few weeks ago. Yeah,
and your thoughts?
I mean, best production of Cats I've ever seen. It is just so. It's so amazing. It's being produced. It's so amazing that those performers are kicking their faces 8 shows a week. I went with my Cats loving husband to see him vibrate in his seat was a gift. For me, I'm just, I, as a podcast host, listen, I'm paid the little bucks to be honest. And my honest take is that it is incredible. It is important. It is so good. It is also still Cats. And, Scammer, shake the railway. I'm like, I still don't know what's going on. But I do understand within the context of this production what they're doing. And I think it's phenomenal. But it's also still Cats. And that's what that's what I tell my friends.
It's still Cats, but I think that that was like the takeaway from any production of Cats is everybody was like, "Ooh, what was that?"
Yeah.
But yet, like that was fun, and yet they were Cats. And now, at least that big old question mark has like a much stronger answer. Like it's rooted in a human
Yes.
kitty cat context, and that really works.
Oh my
Like
God, it so
it
works.
works
I
over and
cried.
over and over
I
again.
cried in the second act when Grisabella finally gets her big memory moment. And like the staging of it is so good, and just like, yeah, no, I mean, I was so excited to see it, and also full transparency. It was the day after I did my show in New York, and so I was like, like kind of recovering from that, but just fucking loved it. The things I'm sad I haven't seen. I want to see Masquerade. I hear that was amazing.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I know Schmigadoon just started previews and it looks absolutely divoon. I also just want to give a little bit of a tease. I'm interviewing Jimin Moon, who is in the Heated Rivalry off-Broadway parody musical. That there are people who are angry in those comments. Tim Hughes, do you have a hot take about parody musicals being commercially produced, or about like any hot take about what's being produced on Broadway or in New York right now?
I mean, it was definitely like a fast-tracked, came out of nowhere production. So I have my doubts, but I also love J. Armstrong Johnson and think it's in really good hands and trust that like if he's lending his abilities to it, it will be great
Yeah.
and satisfying. But I do, and I love me some Heated Rivalry. Like, I was really anything that like reaches that large of a scale of popularity, I have my hesitations about. And I was 1000% won over. So like
Same.
I want to support all of every incarnation of that story because
Well,
I think it's really,
it's the
really
Heated Rivalry fans, the crazy fandom who are pissed, like that they feel like it's disrespectful to the source material. But I'm like, I think parody is actually, you know what they say, it's the highest form of flattery. And I think like, what do you expect? A gay hockey show that reaches the masses? What is it not going to get an off-Broadway parody musical? Of course. Hello, welcome to gay people.
but but aren't we beginning from like I mean what is the genre called? The books smut or something?
Yeah,
Is that what it's
I mean, I don't
called?
know if that's like legally what we call it, but it's definitely giving. Yeah, it's giving gay romance smut.
I mean, how can we like tarnish the reputation of smut further? Like, what are they really holding on to here? I mean, I think like it is lending itself to all of these different branches off of this book. One of them happened to be this series, but like if we go back to the smut, like you can do whatever you want with that.
Oh yeah, and
Come
Matt's
on.
been Matt's been reading the books, and he's like jaw dropped while reading because it really is horny. And you know, I love sex positivity as a slut myself. I love to celebrate sex, but I do think it's funny. I just think in general, if we zoom out to fandoms in general right now, there is such an elevated like. I mean, you've even told me sort of in the DMs like people being, let's just say, weird, at a stage door, or like I just feel like we're living in a time when there's such a proximity to creatives, whether it's social media or stage touring on Broadway, that I think fandoms have sort of like been injected with steroids, and people are taking things so personally when art is art, baby, and maybe we can just let things lie if they're not for us instead of trying to dox people or like I don't know, cancel them, or like there's summer house shit going on where there's like a quote unquote affair happening with this Bravo. Are you a Bravo girl at all?
No, no.
Well,
I'm a trader's girl, but not a
shout
Bravo
out,
girl. So
shout out.
like, yeah.
Well, the only thing you need to know is that there was a big divorce on Summer House, and then one of the people, the woman in the divorce, is now allegedly dating somebody else from the show who was like best friends with the guy who also the guy that she's now sleeping with, he also dated her best friend. And people, instead of being like, oh my god, this is a reality show and this is a crazy plot points, it's like they should never get booked for a brand deal. They should know. It's like, no, that's their job to be messy on camera. Hello. I just think fandoms are going nuts. So
I agree. I think it feels like the renewed cycle of online craziness. Like at first, I think it was probably when we were like in middle school when there were chat rooms and there was like anonymity to comments for the first time.
yeah.
And then I think in like a post-COVID world, where everybody was just isolated for so long, it like re-emboldened people to say whatever they wanted to say
Yes.
online. So it just like because there was no real human interaction for them to like deal with the comments that they're throwing out there.
Oh
And now I
yeah.
feel like we're just experiencing that
And let me say that
firsthand.
fandoms have always been crazy. I feel like the clips of when the Beatles came to America, and like I understand that like there's always have been crazy fans. Remember when American Idol was first coming out, and there was like such a crazy amount of discussion around like whatever. I get it. But that before we move on though to like the comeback of it all, I did ask you, since you came on the podcast a year ago and I found out whose fault it is that you're gay. Do you have any gay obsessions? Is Heated Rivalry your answer? What's like speaking to you as a gay guy, right? Meow.
I don't know if I would say that I'm obsessed with Heated Rivalry, but I really did like it really fully won me over. I'm trying to think what would be like my gay obsession right now.
I mean, we really did have a good conversation about Heated Rivalry, so I feel like we can actually use this as a segue. So let me do that.
Well, also, I think I mean, as a segue too, the irony is like my gay obsession has always been the comeback, has always been these like these wild women, like really problematic leading comedic women.
Yes. Well, let's get into it then, because the comeback, when you posted that you were a part of it, it was really they were starting to post teasers around season 3.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know, the comeback was this like cult hit, we would say, that had 2 seasons, and then the second season was years and years ago. I should have written this down.
So the first season was about 20 years ago. And they did not, the head of HBO did not believe in it, and did not really give it enough time to marinate and find an audience. So it was canceled after its first season. And then in the archives, it just found this like grassroots momentum of like just starting to grow on people in the unique way that this like cringe comedy world does.
Hmm.
And it found continued support over those years that resulted in them bringing it back 10 years later for
Right.
season 2 with a new head of HBO who was like, I think we didn't give this enough time. Let's try again. And season 2, I mean, they're both brilliant, but I think season 2 is like phenomenally done. I think it's just like so incredible, like really worth the payoff, an easier storyline to digest.
Yeah.
Like season 1 is pretty painful at times. Season 2 has such a like full circle satisfying arc to it. And despite that, they like opened to some like shockingly low numbers again for season two. So they canceled it again for season two. And then a similar thing had happened and it like gained momentum and continued to have this over a long period of time gaining support that allowed them to come up with an idea for season three, supposedly the third and final. But
I mean, I don't know if Valerie Cherish herself can deal with getting canceled again. It's so meta to think about how the show, and again, for people who don't know, most gay people have watched it. If you have not, it really is brilliant. But it's like, it really is. We talk about character actresses on this show, and in a way, Valerie Cherish would be maybe considered a character actress that we would obsess over for her campiness. But really, at the end of the day, it's sort of a devastating tale about a woman trying to stay relevant in Hollywood. And I find it sometimes hard to watch because it's so, you feel so empathetic towards her plight. And as somebody who now lives in LA and is like working my way up through the entertainment industry, I'm also like cringing at how real some of these things are. But it's a fucking incredible show, and the third season opens with Valerie Cherish. We find out that she's been cast as Roxy Hart in Chicago, and she doesn't really want to do it. And we find Tim Hughes at the put-in rehearsal, where Valerie Cherish, played by Lisa Kudrow, is sitting on your big, girthy lap, and essentially what, she quits on the spot? Is that, I mean, no spoilers, but also it's been out now for a bit. Question number one, because I have so many gay journalist questions for you. It was definitely shot in LA, right?
Definitely shot in LA.
Love that. And then, but they cast a bunch of New York actors.
Yes. So we'll dive right in. I think we went back and forth between United Artists Theater and the Orpheum.
Okay.
Orpheus Theater. Well, I can't remember if it's both theaters are downtown LA.
Okay.
I had gotten the chance to work, as you mentioned previously, on an episode of And Just Like That, which are the creators, both Michael Patrick King and John Melfi are the executive producers of Sex and the City, And Just Like That, and also The Comeback. And they're also huge theater goers. So they see everything in New York, and they've seen me in a bunch of things. Which is through that relationship, I ended up being able to be a small part of And Just Like That. But when I was on set for filming, I only wanted to talk about The Comeback. Like, I really only wanted to talk to them about the brilliance of that show.
Yeah.
Which I think is, in my mind, I think for both of them, it is kind of their, like, their sweet treat, like their little passion project
When
that they
someone
return
comes
to.
up to them to talk about that, they feel seen, they feel like this person gets it, and Tim Hughes is a Broadway queen who gets it. Are you about to reveal to us, Tim, that you were offer only for The Comeback?
No, I mean, ish.
They said
I
this
did get a
tall
phone
gay
call.
guy. Yeah. So wait. So did you have to audition, or were they like, we know him, just put him on it?
I knew there'd be a part of it somehow, but I did put I did put things on tape
Oh my
for
God. And
them.
so and
Yeah.
so you're like asked to be put on tape, but also you have a relationship with these people. Where were you when you found out it was a green light and you were knowing exactly what you were going to be doing with Valerie Cherish rehearsing Chicago?
Well, I don't know if you caught this detail, but I also choreographed the whole
Oh, that's
episode.
right. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I started like being a part of it. It was I knew I'd be a part of it, and there was a lot of communication surrounding getting the likeness of Chicago and getting the rights to Chicago, but not, only certain things
Right.
were allowed. Like you could get the rights to Chicago, but like you can't get the set design, or you could, but it's like the more things you replicate, the more expensive it gets.
I see.
So early on, I was asked to then also create like fake Fosse choreography for it, which I was like, fake Fosse is my middle name. Like I can do that.
Yeah.
And they're like, but it can't look anything like the movie and anything like the Broadway production. And I was like, Okay, but also you want this to look like she's going into the Broadway show, and because Michael Patrick King and John Melfi love Broadway so much, they wanted it to feel real. They wanted it to feel as authentic as possible in this wild card comedy world
Yeah.
that they've created. So I knew that I'd be choreographing it. Like I did have like a meeting with one of the producers to discuss that and my contribution to that. And then there was an ask that I could help Allison Jones, the casting director out in LA, if I could try to bring in some familiar Broadway faces to submit for the project to be a part of this. Um, and I was like,
Tim,
great.
you're
So then I
wearing
got to
many a
like,
hat on this episode. You are giving choreo king. You are giving casting directress for the Broadway. So, because, and by the way, shout
well,
out to,
just humbly throwing
yeah.
out names to Allison Jones and her team. Shout
Well,
out to
you
all
did
of
a
them.
great
They were
job.
wonderful.
Also, can we talk about
Thanks.
something a little bit interesting and controversial? Is Broadway World posted a photo from the first episode, and you, Tim Hughes, commented, "Hey, at official Broadway World, thanks for tagging me in the photo, but I see in the article you failed to mention the 11 actors that portrayed the Company of Chicago on the episode who are from the Broadway community. Would you like to acknowledge and celebrate that? Let me know where I should send those names." God, I love when you get angry, Tim.
Well, come on. I mean, official Broadway world. You're gonna recognize this story, and then you're gonna go on to not mention the crossover of why this story is even relevant to your base. Like all of these people are from the Broadway world and get are now being celebrated in an episode of television that's depicting the Broadway world. Come on, let's
Yes,
acknowledge it.
from said
It is.
Broadway world. These people are
Yes, come
from the
on, people.
world.
Like more TV people should be like applauded for what NPK was doing by like authentically looking for some Broadway faces and talents for this television show.
Well, guess what happened? You commented that, and soon after, all those Broadway babies were tagged in that photo, and I think hopefully put in the article as well. But I love that you're not afraid to stand up for what is right. And honestly, there's so much fuckery around every industry period in the world, but especially when it comes to entertainment and specifically Broadway. I think that there's like, people are paid so little compared to what actors are doing on like TV sets or film sets or commercial sets. And so I think the least that they could do was to tag them in a goddamn article or photo. So I really applaud you for commenting that, because it really, I mean, that's the positive side of social media, is like there is a direct link to people who are a part of these shows and productions, and sometimes we should be calling shit out, and you, Tim Hughes, called it out.
Yeah, the direct link was I looked who what the author was, and I sent them the names
Good.
directly on Instagram. That I was
Well,
like, these are the names.
a lot of people that are in this are, I mean, amazing. I'm not going to name them all, but I just want to shout out just like a random, just like a gay guy from St. Louis, Missouri, Carly Tamron. I grew up with, and she is one of
You
the,
did?
yeah, I like literally known her since I was like 8 years old.
Oh my
And
God.
we've lost touch, but shout out to Carly. She's doing amazing work.
Oh, she's amazing.
I mean, and she's always been a killer dancer, and she went to UMich, so of course I was thrilled for her, devastated for me. And then you've got Robbie Fairchild, who I have some questions about him for the Substack portion that we're going to get into, because he's had a coming out journey that's been really interesting. So I just can't say enough how exciting it is for me to talk to you about the comeback and Broadway. It's like everything I want in one. So I just want a quick interjection to thank you again for coming on this podcast, Tim. You're just a true mensch. What else?
Anytime. No, it's always a thrill to talk to you. So
Oh my
anytime.
God,
Anytime you call, I'm
Tim.
saying yes.
Well, careful what you wish for, because it's going to be 3 in the morning and you're just going to hear me breathing. Now, um, I watched actually, HBO has a podcast that Evan Ross Katz hosts, and it's really cool that he talks to Lisa Kudrow and Michael Patrick King about sort of the BTS. And Lisa Kudrow, in the interview about this Chicago segment, was talking about how put in rehearsals specifically can be so brutal. It's like all the actors don't really want to be there. The person who is maybe the celebrity who's doing it is clearly not able to do it as well as everybody that is. Do you agree that that put in rehearsals when you're a part of like a long running show are brutal and they usually suck?
Oh, 1000%. Especially when you're doing a put in rehearsal for like the lead,
Yeah.
and the lead is like a big name.
Yeah.
It is the most uncomfortable thing to be a part of because it is like rehearsal is always messy to begin with. It's always like something you don't want everybody to see as you're figuring it out for yourself.
Oh yeah.
And there are so many things that you're figuring out for yourself the first time you're on stage with your costumes, with your actual cast, with the lighting, with the sound, with the orchestra, that like it really is a very difficult day for anybody doing a put in. Like if you're the understudy, it's difficult, but if you're a big name, it's like it's unbelievably difficult to succeed in that. It's just as like there's a I can't even fathom the amount of pressure that is being felt as you step into a company that has been running, that has been in existence much
Yeah.
longer before you even entered this space in the lead role. Like
Yeah.
the dynamic shift of what's happening in a put-in rehearsal is just like all over the place.
Well,
And
there's
I
also
don't.
ego involved too when you have a big name who is probably like trapped by their own ego because they know that there's a certain uh there's a certain like expectation of, oh, let's just put out a stupid name. Let's just say, okay, Bradley Cooper is coming in for The Light in the Piazza, as I'm sure he would love to do. And all of a sudden people are watching him like do a shitty job because it's his first time dealing with the costumes and the music and the backstage of it all. It's like I'm sure he's feeling a certain sense of like, wow, these people are watching me, Bradley Cooper, do a terrible job. And then of course the actors are like, wow, I have to be here to do a show I know like the back of my hand and to see him do a terrible job. I mean,
Yep.
have you watched big names really struggle through their first rehearsals and have you felt like, "Oh my God, they're not going to get there?"
I don't think I ever like thought. We were there most recently. I mean, I was there for like the put-in multiple put-ins for Sutton Foster and Aaron Tveit for Sweeney.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is like it was basically the end of the first year of our run. And Sutton was simultaneously doing encores, Once Upon a Mattress, and trying to learn it ahead of time, have a put-in rehearsal, then go do the run of encores, and then come back and do another put-in rehearsal, and then actually open the show.
Jesus.
So like the number of details that were running through her brain like would just be astronomical. I can't imagine taking on the puzzle pieces of a Sondheim show as you try to work your way through that material while you also had another show like in your back pocket that you were about to go do, and then also like be adding all of these new elements to it for the first time with like your actual castmates. So like did they both do like incredibly well for what that situation was? Yes, like unbelievable. But as far as the capabilities of where they both could have, like where they ended up in their
Right.
performances, it was just like the minimum ground laying effort to get it all like into your body all at once, and then really laying the foundation so that they could build upon that during the run. It just happens
Right.
differently when it's the put in and not when it was Josh and Anna Lee, we were in the mud with them. Like we all were
Building
like
the show
scrapping
from the
together.
ground. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody was in the same scenario. Everybody was in the same situation. But like when we come in for the put-in rehearsal, like we don't have to wear our costumes. We're
That's the
there,
part I
and
find to be the most devastating is you see pictures of the actor in their full hair and makeup, wig or whatever costume, and then a bunch of people in Lululemon smoking a cigarette. Like it feels that part to me feels a little devastating. The example that you gave is a brilliant example because you're talking about two Broadway vets who knew the work that it
yeah,
takes to like get it in their bones and to actually be quote unquote audience ready. But I also have to imagine like we're at a time now where there's so much stunt casting. I mean, can you imagine like who's doing Moulin Rouge right now that just had to call out?
Oh yeah, Megan Thee Stallion.
So just picturing like Megan the Stallion's put in, she's like, I know she did Dix the musical, which shout out to Aaron and Josh, who like that. I actually was very impressed by her in that movie. It was a hilarious, insane movie. But just picturing her like going to Broadway and doing a put in as like coming from such a different world. I also will say I did a musical with the Broadway legend who's known as Perez Hilton, and he is someone who, and I say that jokingly, he is of course like not a Broadway legend, and seeing and like having
Wait, what did you do with him?
the Full House parody musical, Tim.
I'm not holding my applause for that. I need to tap
Yeah,
that one out.
I understudied him. He played Danny Tanner in like the off-Broadway parody musical. It was theater on St. Mark's. This was years and years ago. And yeah, I was very much like, poisoning his drink so that I could go on as Danny Tanner.
And did you?
Of course I did. No, he ended up doing the show for a while, and I never went on while he was actually doing it. But then I got to take over for him once he left and got to be Danny Tanner in this pair. It was, I mean, it was like a hilarious, like really crass, right up my alley, but super fun. Again, years and years ago. And yeah,
But speaking of like Megan Thee Stallion, when they were like, "Oh, she was rushed to the hospital," I was like, "She's probably exhausted." Like she
that's
just
what
had
people
her put in.
commented. People are like, that's what 8 shows a week does to a body.
Yeah,
It's like,
this is what happened. She had to put in rehearsal. That it was her first week.
yeah, her first fucking week. And she's also a busy person who is also doing other shit too, and then has the pressure of whatever other projects she's working on. Like, it's just Broadway is not for people who
The
don't.
week.
The week. It's not for the weekend. It's for people who need to be athletic. Just like you're saying, why you can sleep at night is because your heart has been worn out by the emotional and physical toil of a Broadway care ear. Okay,
I share it all. I share it all every day so I can sleep.
well, and speaking of sharing it all, you post some really great things to Instagram with you and your hot fiance. You guys are not married, correct?
No, not married yet.
Okay, so we talked about this last time. I always want to just give you a mazel tov on having a handsome Jewish fiance. Did you do Passover last week?
We did, yes. Actually, this was his family. We had done it the year before, and there was a 2-year-old involved. So it was like kind of like the fast run through
Seder.
version.
Yeah.
Yes. And this year, we went with some friends to like a very traditional Seder up in Westchester with like the full book. And I was like, whoa, that going backwards in the book, I was like, there are a lot of pages in this story.
Oh, trust me, you're not at a Seder if you haven't flipped through the pages going, wait, how much more do we have until we eat? That's when you
Seriously.
know you're at a Passover Seder.
My favorite thing about like being a newcomer to the Seder was, as a Broadway performer, as somebody who prides themselves on being able to pick up a tune and sing, I was like really searching for the melody. I was like really searching for the one at the table who could like help me lead and like who could help teach me some of these
Was anybody
hymns.
on pitch, or was it a tone deaf crew?
I, it's kind of like that. When you go to a non-theater birthday party and like
Happy birthday. What key are we
everybody's
doing?
singing Happy Birthday. Yeah, it's like everybody knows that tune, but if you didn't know Happy Birthday, it would be physically impossible for you to pick that up
Yeah, like
in a group
happy
setting.
birthday, dear.
Yes, and like like Aunt Sally over here is like just on a different key, and like then there's just like tone deaf like Uncle Jerry over here. Like there's no
Tim,
way to
I
pick it all
love that
up.
you're pulling this apart because I was at a Seder with a bunch of people who some were like gorgeous bell tresses. Someone started one of the songs in a high key, and I was like, man, we're all going to struggle. But then there was a guy next to me who I don't think was a songstress, and he was singing like 2 octaves down to the point where I was like, not laughing at him, but laughing at like the sheer notes he could hit. And finally, after the song was over, I turned to him. I was like, "You have an amazing lower register." I just could not. It was so. I mean, like when you can't sing in the tune the key everyone's doing, so you go the octave down. This man was hitting
Yeah,
notes.
the key of Patrick Page.
The key of Patrick Page. I mean, it really was a marvel. Do you and your Jewish husband Jacques have wedding plans, or are we keeping that under wraps?
We've started the search for a venue now. We have an idea of what we want and where we want it. So now we're looking, but we are remaining flexible with the date. I think when the right location
Love.
is found, then we will be flexible in order to accommodate that.
Are you fantasizing about a Broadway diva singing at your reception?
Well, did I tell this story before that there was a Broadway diva who sang at the engagement?
If you did, I've smoked enough weed to have
It's
forgotten. Who was it?
yeah, it was Anna Lee. It was Anna Lee Ashford.
I don't think we talked
Yeah,
about this because I would have remembered. Stop it. Oh my God.
I
And what did she
know.
sing?
She sang our well the whole story is like when I Zach had planned this incredible engagement. We had met at
The
the big
gala
benefit for
for. Yes, yes,
the LA
yes.
Forney Center. So he had planned it the night before this last year. And when I walked in, I thought I was walking into like a party, and nobody was there. But like the guy who was usually at those events taking photographs, and then one guy with the guitar. And I literally was like, "Where's the coat check?" And then I was like, and somebody started playing the guitar, and I was like, "Ooh, they're having like an entertainer here tonight." And then and Zach was placed in the corner of the room for the right lighting for the photo. So he just was like standing there, and I shouted across the room. I was like, "Am I early? Seriously?" And then I heard somebody start singing, and then like I turned and around the corner was Annalie Ashford singing, and my first thought was, "Why didn't she tell me she was going to be here tonight?" Like I thought she was like there for still missing it completely, like for the benefit. And
Your heart
then
rate is so slow. Your brain is also having a tough time coming up with why all these elements are in one room.
then I put the pieces together immediately when I realized she was singing what like our song, and then I had like
Which
the
is.
Meryl Streep moment. It's called Till Forever. Labi Sifra is like a set 1970s like British gay folk singer.
Mm,
Do you know this? Do you know him?
no, but it's you're giving us a great pitch.
Oh my God. And I think he's coming out with a new album for the first time in like 20
Tell
years,
me the
coming
name again of
soon.
who sings it.
I'm gonna look up the Labi. I think it's Labi
As in Labia.
Siffre.
And the song is called Till
Till Forever.
Till Forever. Okay, we're all gonna be. Well, I can link it also. We're gonna look up this song. I love that you guys have such random taste, but would it be a song that I've heard before?
Hmm. I mean, maybe it's a great song. That one or Bless the Telephone. They're just like really simple, folksy, kind of perfectly poetic and melodically surprising songs. They're
Mm.
great.
So
You will love
Annalie
them.
is. So she's singing this song, and you look over at your handsome man, and you realize, oh my God, I'm being proposed to.
Yeah, I melted.
When he kisses you, does he have to be on his tiptoes?
I mean, he's in a like a demi releve. Yeah.
A dancer dances.
Yeah.
Well, that was such a beautiful peek into that engagement, and the fact that Annalie Ashford was there only sets the literal stage for the gorgeous gay wedding that will occur whenever it occurs. And another Mazel
Yeah.
Tov to you both, and I'm so
Thanks.
thrilled that you are going to Passover Seder's and uh, being getting married to a gorgeous Jew. All right, Tim Hughes. Before we go over to Substack for these invasive listener questions,
Oh
I,
gosh.
I would love to, I guess, ask you. Um, oh well, just to like pin up the comeback of it all. Did you watch episode 3 last night?
No, because my fiance goes to bed, and now this is one of the shows that we get to watch together, which is thrilling. He like
Well,
th this is one of the only shows that I've ever rewatched because I'm obsessed with it. And then he got to rewatch season one and season two before I went to film.
ugh.
And then we got to watch. We were at the premiere in LA, so we got to watch the first two together.
Oh
So we'll
my
watch the third
God.
one.
Oh my
But it
God.
comes
So
out at
okay,
like 10:30 on Sundays. It's late.
it's late. It's late. And since I'm in LA, that's like one of the benefits of like being able to like still go to bed early and like watch all the award shows at 4 or 5 p.m. It's just a
Yeah.
privilege. I am going to ask you about the premiere during our extended ep on Substack. So that I definitely want to hear about. Some of the other chorus boys, of course. But I guess final question for this main episode is if we could ask you. I asked you this last time, but I want to see if there's a different answer today. If the world was ending and you could only save one character actress, who would you save? Do you have a different answer from what you said last time?
I believe I said Olivia Colman last time.
That tracks.
And I think, it might be too much on brand, but I was going to give it to Lisa. I wanted to give, I want to see what she does next.
Lisa
Um,
Kudrow.
I feel like there's like a full like wrap up to her like two most identifiable characters. Like Phoebe had a full, long, wonderful, amazing run, and I do think she's one of the most talented, unique comedians that we have, character actresses. And I think from the experience of working with her and seeing how like she falls into Valerie. You know exactly when she's Valerie, and you know exactly
Yes.
when she's Lisa Kudrow. And it's fascinating and brilliant. But I think the way that she just like fully immerses herself in her characters. Like I want to save her to give her like another opportunity at creating one more just home run for us.
Yes. Oh,
Um,
and we know she has it in her. We know that I mean, she's been a genius and will continue to be. I think that you're going to see in episode 3 specifically, and I know she does this in many other of the episodes, but there's like an insane depth. That's the mark of a true genius, I think, especially as a genius comedian, is the
and I've
surprising
heard the
twist.
rumors of her going to do like another Romeo and Michelle, which will be
Oh
interesting. But
yes.
I'm like, which is also genius. But I like there's I bet there's a lot of like untapped. The side note, little anecdote. One of the fun things is when we were filming it, when I first started working with Lisa, she assumed that I was like coming from the Broadway production, and she was like, "What's Mira doing?" Because Mira Sorvino was playing Roxy on Broadway as we
When you
were
were filming,
filming.
stop.
Yes,
What's Mira doing?
I know. Yes, she was like, if she basically like if Mira can do it, then I can do it. Just like was her mindset, and I was like, I don't know what Mira's doing. Like I'm not
Wait,
in the
were
Broadway
you ever in
production.
Chicago?
No, no, no. They'd asked me if I had ever been in Chicago, and I was like, funnily enough, like I most recently went in to understudy Billy Flynn after all these years, and like walked out of there being like, this is going my way. Crickets, crickets, didn't get it.
Stars, they're just like
Yeah,
us. Tim, thanks for keeping it real,
yeah.
and thank you for.
I'm in some file supposedly, but I was like, how big is this file here?
Oh, it's
How many
only
years of a
25
file do we
years. Yeah.
have? Yeah, yeah.
God,
And
I
all these
love.
young kids fresh out of college are somehow being put in front of me in the file.
You know,
Good for them.
the Broadway industry loves to keep a girl humble. But we at GayS Podcasts always celebrate when Timothy Hughes comes on. So, Tim, thank you for being here and for being such a goddamn delight. Will you tell these listeners where to follow you and if there's anything else you would like for them to know?
Oh yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Timothy R. Hughes. And stay tuned. Hopefully there'll be some fun things to support and enjoy in the next couple weeks,
Hell
months.
fucking yeah, Tim. Keeping
Yeah.
us teased and beesed. Everyone go to Substack. I'm asking some questions about more of the comeback, but also some, fiance questions, dream castings for Roxy, being flirted with by people too much. That's over on Substack. Tim, you're the best. I'll see you there. Bye everyone. Stay gay. Boop.